энергетику, уже традиционную в этом году. Не в этом вообще, в этом век. Причем если раньше мы в основном ее проводили,
we mostly conducted this session while focusing on the innovative transformation of some large power grids, of large energy, so to say. We were focusing on the transformation of large power generation. But today, we wanted to talk about how the services in the field of energy are changing. Who is the customer here? And here, I believe it would be very interesting to discuss how the state sees it, how some large companies see it. And we invited a representative from one such a large company. And of course, we invited startups that stand ready to give some responses, mainly to come up with the services that are needed by a customer in the field of power generation. Today, we welcome as a speaker Oleg Barkin, the Deputy Chairman of the Board from Market Council, Alexey Chelenko, the CEO of Eco-Management. Then we have Alexey Nibera, the General Manager of Interlab. He's a bit late, he's running late, but he'll join us shortly. We also have Oleg Rudakov and Evgeny Olkovich. So we have actually 50% of people named Oleg at this session. I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but we'll see how it goes. And in the very beginning, I would like to give the floor to Oleg Barkin. When it comes to the Market Council, this is a quite active participant that launches different pilot projects. In these pilot projects, as I already said, are aimed at providing the most comfortable conditions for the energy consumption, electric energy consumption. This is about development, increasing the volumes, etc. We see what is currently going on the market. We see some increase in demand. The stats saying this, but in May we had some changes from the participants to the market who wanted to narrow down the investment programs. But still, at the same time, we see the increase of the demand of energy consumption, and also we see the change in geography of it. So, Oleg, what is on the top agenda for you now? What are the types of services and functions that will leave the market, the energy market, and what services may appear? What services do you plan to support the piloting, also from the point of the regulation? Okay, good morning, dear participants. I'll try to respond to the questions that were already voiced. I will also mention the projects that may be of interest for you. So what is changing? By and large, the demand is the king for us, demand and consumption. And, well, here we are talking particularly about a consumer with some particular interests. There are some stats over the period of 3 most surprising years. We've seen some trends. In 2020, there was a decrease, and, well, just as in the past, crises happened. Of course, the economy responds to that. And I'm mainly talking about the industrial consumers here. Also, we see that the OPEC left. That was quite a significant factor, in addition to the stop of operations in offices, etc. But after that, the growth, the speeded up growth continued, and 2021 actually exceeded the parameters of 2019 when it comes to the volumes of consumption. And the upward trend persisted. This is positive, but what is going on now is really hard to characterize. We are continuously monitoring the situation. Of course, we are hearing from the news about the automobile production on manufacturers and other manufacturers that are decreasing the volumes of their electric consumption. And that's logical, but in some fields, the energy consumption is still increasing. And we also have seen a very interesting trend that also gives us some food for thought when it comes to innovation. We see the structural changes in the consumption patterns. It wasn't observed in the past because first the industry was growing and then the consumer consumption was growing. But now we see the sped up process of increasing the consumption from individuals. So this is just the consumption at homes. And it is growing faster than the industrial consumption. Well, the first of the reasons is quite obvious. This is because of the remote work activities, because people are staying at home to work. Also, it's about tourism and business. Also, it's about hospitality. So these are the small consumption patterns that are registered in the statistics as the consumption from homes, but those are not actual homes, but just rented apartments. Also, there are some other aspects and trends, such as, for example, the climate control. What I mean here is the air conditioning, because people need to feel comfortable at home. They install air conditioning systems as well as heat systems or heating systems to feel comfortable. This is a persistent trend. And this new format of the demand for the electricity means that the share of electric consumption in the field of the total energy consumption is growing. There is another interesting trend that is not connected to the statistics, but this is just more about some projects that we do. This is about the electric heating systems. There are a lot of new buildings, residential facilities in some regions that make use of this. Well, of course, there are some very cheap sources of energy. For example, in Siberia, they already make use of the electric heating. But also in the Urals, some new buildings, residential buildings, are equipped with electric heating systems rather than the standard and traditional ones. This is a story that also results in the increase of electric energy consumption as compared to some other types of energy consumption. This is some global trend. And what about mining? Oh, yes, right. I've had it somewhere at the back of my head, but I've forgotten about it somehow. So this is important, an important reminder, but I'm afraid I will just be too long about it. Well, right, I'm really sorry I forgot to mention it. So this is a complex topic indeed, and I'll briefly state and comment the position that has already been mentioned in public. So the position is quite simple. If we take aside the judicial issues, what is mining for? What is its main purpose? Well, of course, it's energy-consuming process, and perhaps it has some export potential, because these capacities are also rendered to some foreign entities. This is what it is. This is also an export product. So getting aside the finance and judicial issues, then, well, of course, this is a positive story for us when it comes to the energy consumption. This is indeed a promising field, and we stand ready to support it, of course, staying within the legal framework. But what we would really like to avoid, what we already see happening, is when mining is done via theft. So when somebody incurs some losses that we are paying for, unfortunately, this is how it is, and we really have to fight against it. And this is a negative aspect of mining. But when it comes to like civilized and industrial mining processed legally, then, well, that's absolutely all right. And also there is a gray zone. We have to understand what to do with this. This is about the increase of some home consumption of electric energy in some regions. It is mentioned a lot in Siberia, as well as, like, for example, in such cities as Irkutsk. It is also mentioned in the southern regions of Russia. And we had some interesting example from Kazakhstan. Some patterns resulted in the reduction of volume of consumption in megawatts, and that was obvious that the mining processes were just cut down. So we need to indeed discuss it when it comes to civilized and legal frameworks. We are all for it, but everything that is gray and black here, we are against it. Okay, yeah, I would also like to elaborate on our projects a little bit. Indeed, I wanted to ask you about it. So you've mentioned the trends, what is going on, and what to do with this. There is another interesting aspect. Well, when it comes to the consumption trends that are changing, I don't have any ready answers. I'm coming here also to discuss it. Well, we actually invited you to hear some answers from you. Well, I believe that it would be very interesting to indeed discuss it, to exchange our opinions, maybe to have some creative format here, if I understand it correctly. So that was just a general trend from me. But I would like to mention a couple of topics that we are working on in form of projects. So all said, the consumption pattern also is described with a trend that covers the whole Russia. This is the eco-trend, or eco-friendly energy consumption trend. Well, 2021, that was the period of booming of eco-friendliness. The latest events kind of overshadow this trend a little bit, but it still persists. All the industrial consumers, the large consumers, are saying that this trend, for them, when it comes to the criteria, when it comes to green consumption, is kept. So for them, this is a long-term story when it comes to the mindset as well as to the economical aspect of this. Because, for example, if we switching from the Western partners to the Eastern partners, then, well, Eastern partners also care about eco-friendliness. So this is a global chain, and everybody is currently being careful about our nature. So the green trend indeed persists. And that's why in the Market Council we started to discuss this long ago, and we already started to draft the system. This is the system to support the infrastructure for the market of green tools, such tools as green certificates. And we've now expanded the range. We added some attributes. So the green features of energy can be transferred upon a bilateral agreement. For example, I generate energy and I can strike an agreement with the consumer, and this will be about the direct transfer of energy. But in this same contract, I can mention and enshrine that I transfer the ecological attributes. It means that this energy was produced in a green manner, and then the consumer can also list it in their reporting. This is a direct form, but we can also get away from this like physical transfer. We can just form it in a shape of some documents, certificates of the energy generation, like where this generation is coming from, and I can transfer it to the buyer or somebody else who buys from my buyer. So this is a very flexible form of the transfer of eco rights. For these systems, as for any other systems, when it comes to the rights for real estate or anything else, it is really important to establish an infrastructure of a registry which will very clearly fix this and enshrine these rights and the transfer of these rights between different subjects. And this system needs to be very fast, because we need to also add some marketplaces to this registry system, because we see the demand from both large players as well as some smaller players such as startups in this field. So it is very important to provide the consumer with this new service. The consumer will not just buy the energy, but also will see where this energy is coming from, and we have to establish the tools for the confirmation of provenance. And we continue to work on this project, and we are waiting for the regulation in this field. We've been already drafting the regulation ourselves, and we are waiting for the technological platform to make it all happen. When it comes to the technological platform, we analyzed the technologies, and we saw and understood that the distributed registries is the most promising case here, because they really allow to integrate with the marketplaces very fast. It can also help us and enable us to integrate with traditional marketplaces that do not use any blockchain technologies, as well as to integrate with the innovative ones with blockchain technologies. And we hope that by the end of the year we will come up with some prototype, maybe, or some like ready system, and when the regulation is ready we can just launch it. Okay, thanks a lot, very interesting. I have a couple of questions, but perhaps I will ask them a bit later. I'm not sure whether we will have the time left for additional questions. Now I'd like to give the floor to Evgeny Olukovich. And
it's evident that, so we can see this from its name, that this is a very large sale company, and they present these services to consumer of electrical power. And there was a lot of argument here at this platform that digitalization of the service to consumer will lead to changes of company business, and maybe also speaking about this distributed ledger, also it's quite important. Maybe we'll change everything. Eugenie, can you say in a couple of words how do you change your business? What additional services you have? Please, we know that you, of course, sell electrical power and also billing services, but maybe you have some additional services. It's very interesting for us, very interesting for our developers. And can you expand on this? Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak. Our company is called Energosbyt Holding. It has been working in Russia for 16 years, and historically it presents the electrical power services to our consumers. So this is our heritage with which we work, and along with this, we have a new direction of our activities, which was adopted for the company by its shareholders in the second half of 2019. And this additional service already, composes 50% of our services. So the service on sale management, demand management, and we are one of the companies which focused on developing of this kind of activity, which also is linked with power, the sale of power. I will say in a few words what it is, because maybe not all of you know about this activity. The activity on demand management appeared in 2019. It means that when we have peak load, consumers can be limited at some comfortable level. Their level of consumption is limited, their power is limited at the peak. And in this case, the energy system is balanced, is more balanced. And we have such consumers, aggregators of demand management. Such an aggregator of demand is Energosbyt Holding. And now, practically over last 3 years of this market development. For this activity, we amount to 50% of the market share. Now, our share amounts to 50% of the market in this area. Why are we going in this direction? Because we think that this is fundamental and this is a good service. It creates necessary economic effect through consumers directly, and it has elements of ESG agenda because it leads to a decline of carbon footprint, and this service is customer-oriented because the customer is very important for us here, and he's a key figure for us. We want to give him innovative services in this part. We believe in this service, and it will have more share in Russia. Also, here I can digress a little bit, and I would like to speak about trends in power consumption. I can, of course, agree with Oleg, but maybe I will generalize all these trends. I can say that consumption slowly, gradually, but this system is quite archaic and historical, conservative. This system is not so subject to changes, but still, gradually, these changes are happening. And what is the most important thing what is happening? Power consumption is becoming smarter. Energy consumption, it's not only a necessity, but also it is used now as a tool for consumers, and he can use this tool, and this demand management is also a flexible tool, and it's also necessary. ESG certificates, ESG agenda are also additional tools for traditional power system. And our biggest advantage is we went to this into this direction of demand management, and we got a lot of support from consumers themselves. And maybe thanks to being an innovative company, we also offer the service which is profitable for consumers. It's innovative and gives money to our consumers, and that's why it's a little bit simpler to us to charm our consumers because we bring our consumers profit. This is a very rare innovative solution because a lot of other solutions they need costs, some expenses from consumers. But this allowed us to expand our customer base, diversify it, and now we are speaking with very large consumers inside of the Russian Federation. But these are the companies which are well known. Speaking with the innovators and developers of these companies, power engineers, power specialists, we can see the requirements of these companies. And these requirements are not restricted by the mechanism of demand management, and it goes to complementary services, for example, installation of some accumulators, and also development of the area of electromobiles. And this question of accumulators is important for us, and we're also thinking to develop ourselves in this direction. And together with accumulators, we also have some other requirements, for example, digital twins, virtual power stations, all this agenda, which you know well about, but it's not well known to consumers because we have also agreements with our consumers in innovative directions. But the end consumers ask us questions. That's why our company, we have this things for innovators, speaking about those mechanisms which can be then commercialized, scaling up in real sectors of economy. And we work very actively with Skolkovo. We work with companies which are presented here, in particular Alexei Anatolievich has come, and as we think we have a very friendly, constructive interaction with his company also regarding automation of our activities in the area of demand management. That's why we have some requirements from our companies, and we feel physically even need of our customers. If you have any proposals, please, you are welcome, and we can discuss everything and anything. Yes, there are many proposals, even in Skolkovo. Now we have 3,300 startups, and Oleg a little bit provoked me. Maybe I just wanted to say this in the end, but maybe now I will say about it. Besides this, that in Skolkovo we have some developers, a big pool of developers. Also, we have a lot of programs. For example, we have Green Tech, and this year I believe that also. This program will be developed, and I hope that WPP also will help here. And also, you always supported this agenda, even when you were in Roset. Maybe we should also have some separate program for looking for these technologies. We promote all this, all our companies know about it. Now I proceed, and I would like to ask Alexei Neberev. He is presenting the company Autosoft. It's not a startup. In Skolkovo they have already a partnership. They develop digital products for power sector, and also they are transferring to digitalization of those sectors about which Eugenie was speaking. Alexei, how do you see power system? You also monitor international grids. You know how the service is developed there. And what is your opinion about it? What is your vision regarding the future? What about the strategy of your company? What is more relevant now? And also considering the relevant conditions, the current conditions. Thank you very much. Yes, I can say that I present not even only one company, but several companies. Intersoft Smart Grid. Intersoft Smart Grid is also a Skolkovo resident. Regarding our main directions, I can split this by two regarding development in Russia and in the globe. This is development of energy markets, and our colleagues already spoke about it, the appearance of program services which allow to solve these issues more efficiently, and such services don't work sometimes without this. And secondly, very interesting area also, this is development of digital twins. I don't like this word very much, but we have this as a goal to develop digital twins. We want to develop digital models regarding power infrastructure. Maybe you know that the models are existing. They existed decades ago. The first models were developed also by me at the Institute. But here we speak about very practical and commercial application, and for startups maybe these things can be of interest. Development of physical mathematical models which describe the processes of electro power systems, and here we can go towards this digital twins. So you mentioned about what you are doing, but now as a result, can you say about your vision regarding the future? Can we have a peek into the future, or is it really confidential information? What do you see at the international markets? How are service sectors changing? Because I think that for you, the most success, the most challenge can be at the international markets also. And also then it will go to the Russian market as well. Okay, I just didn't want to advertise my company, but you excelled at this. But we already have some digital twins. It's one of our direction of developments. From the point of view of our vision, our participation now is limited a little bit regarding international markets, but still we have contacts with our international players. And what we see, that's a little bit ahead in Russia. We really made a headway in Russia, not only our company, but others also. For example, automation of tasks in the area of parallel protection, which covers automation of complicated calculations, and also the tasks of equipment monitoring. And also, you hear this regarding power, equipment generators, transformers, switches, and so on. But then we went to, we set out to monitor parallel protection. Regarding our colleagues abroad, these pilots which we have in Russia are quite innovative for them, and so they also are interested in this, even also in Europe. Okay, thank you very much. Now I would like to give the floor to the company Profatec, Oleg Rudakov. So I can't even name this company as a startup because you are so good. You had a huge growth. Now you are leading developers of digital measurements. And Alexei also and Eugenie mentioned all these services. These services are not only for power companies, but also for consumers. What is your opinion? What services can be developed on the basis of these new technologies which you offer? You just did this not only for fun, of course. You had some goals here. Thank you very much for your question. Profatec has been implementing our own technologies for 10 years. This is a unique technology for Russia, which is based on new physical principles of measurement. And the tool, the device which we created on the basis of photonics, it gives fantastic opportunities to us, and even we don't know them to the full, these opportunities. And now, taking advantage of this situation, I have good colleagues here also. I can say that several years ago we said that there is a new generation of measurement tools, devices which were never used, which had never been used in Russia. before, and on the basis of this management transformators, we can realize commercial counting. And we were afraid that there would be some problems, but we also aligned the methods of checking these digital devices. And colleagues, they are competent very much. They know these technologies very well. They helped us to realize this methodology. And at Krasnoyarsk mill, we have 6 points of counting, and in 2015, and since then, Rusal every month saves 4 million rubles because it increased the accuracy of accounting. It's the example where technologies give advantages for our potential customers. And speaking about products which we produce, we high voltage infrastructure does not need any maintenance. EEG transformation, we speak here about decline of size, because also our company starts to say, Rosgidro, we remove oil, and we also are in accordance with these requirements. And the other thing is that our devices give the measured values in digital format, and it allows us to build up complex digital solutions. What services can we realize on the basis of these complex digital solutions? Colleagues already mentioned about distributed ledgers. I don't know what you meant, blockchain technology, smart contracts, or do you have some other versions? And we, from the point of view of the technology preparation, we did a big breakthrough.
We created a product that can compete with GE, ABB, and RTech in the international markets. And we are actively searching for some new opportunities as well as ways to make use of these technologies. And, well, quite coincidentally, we met the project GS in Skolkovo. I think that these guys are just fantastic in the field of their technology, fintech technology. They are using the blockchain, and they are applying it to blockchain. When we just read about it in the news, then it seems like it's somewhere far away in the future, and we can get the results in a very long time. But when we see that a person can pay for his or her coffee with the cryptocurrency in a just local cafe, this is indeed impressive. And this is already a working product. So you can go to a cashier and pay with your smartphone, which is connected to your crypto wallet, and you can get just local Russian receipt at the cashier. That's how the digital transformation works, right? No, this is the technology that is coming from fintech. And when we saw it, we started to establish the dialogue with Andrei from this company. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to be present today. We could have a very interesting discussion. But we've come up with an idea. Maybe my colleagues now will feel tense about it, but still, one can connect our technologies, our product, to provide for tokening of the electric energy when it is being generated. So this is a combination of the primary technologies or traditional technologies, so to say, with the blockchain and smart contracts technologies can provide us with this opportunity. We can just divide the payments by parts among the players in the market. This is very transparent. There is a question about actually the selling process. Well, I think that Evgeny started to just feel uneasy about it about 2 minutes ago. Right, so we can just preserve it as a service desk just to maintain the system, and that's it. Because indeed, all this doesn't really need a human eye, a human involvement. A lot of people are already well aware of blockchain. Well, to support Evgeny, I would like to remind you of the fact that we also participated in a session on a Narif event, and there was a discussion about the selling process of electric energy when the new technologies are coming. I remember that, well, the reaction wasn't like very unified on it, but I see that you are being transformed, or you are transforming yourself, and so you are staying at the front line to face the customer, the consumer, right? Yes, so I just wanted to mention that as of now, there are some technology opportunities, there are some fintech technologies, and there is even the federal law 259 FZ, which is about the opportunity to buy the utilitarian rights. So one can connect something to token, and with the help of this regulation opportunity, one can work with smart contracts. And by the way, these tokens can also be marked during the generation process, whether it's an NPP, for example, or nuclear power plant, or anything else. We can all connect it to some particular parameters, such as 1 megawatt per hour, for example. So the opportunities here are just limitless. The question is whether we are ready and whether our colleagues are ready to get involved in it. Oleg, would you comment? Yes, I would like actually to support this plan, because this is indeed the functions that we would like to see in the distributed registries. So when I was mentioning such terms as certificate and attribute, these will be the tokens themselves. And actually, yes, we've already talked about the distributed registries. Well, okay, be that a token or not a token, a digital ruble or anything else, one can make use of this indeed. Okay, great. And now I'd like to give the floor to another participant to this discussion, Alexei Chelenko from Independent Energy. So this is a quite young company as compared to Profitech, but the company is growing very fast. You are developing at a fast pace, you're an active player in the market, and you are actively working in the niche that you chose for yourselves. So I would like to ask you, since you decided to form the company quite recently, comparatively recently, then probably you analyzed what are the best tracks for your company to move forward. Okay, so I'll talk less about the company and tell you more interesting stories probably. I believe that at the end of the session you should have some fun. Just a couple of words about ourselves. Perhaps we are the most green and energy-saving company here. We are building digital twins of rooms and environments. We use algorithms to manage all the energy consumers of such as air conditioning systems, heating systems, compressors, etc. So we save up to 30% of electric energy because the system calculates the power that is really needed for these systems rather than just asking some person to switch on or switch off the energy equipment, which is a manual work, so there could be some errors. So I've been in finance my whole life, I've done 3 projects in Skolkovo in fintech. And I think that when people hear the figure of 30% saving, well, perhaps everybody should just run to me and ask for my contacts. But yeah, a lot of people would not believe it, but it can be checked very easily. Well, the reality is quite different from that. What I mean is that there are 3 categories of people that make decisions, and none of these people would like to save 30% on energy consumption. Well, this is particularly about Russia. That's why a lot of companies are now going to the United Arab Emirates or to any other countries. So the first group of these people are the people that are calculating some ratings, I don't know, some thinking in some abstract terms, etc. I'm not sure whether they'd like to get love from the consumers or get some loan money or anything else. Okay, I don't know what is their motivation. We have a client that is already leaving Russia, and this is the largest oil and gas company. They told us, Alexei, we don't want to save 30% on our expenses. Can we just save like 6% over the course of 5 years? I asked them, like, why? Why do you want to do this? And they said, we have a KPI according to which we need to actually save step by step on the energy consumption and demonstrate transparently that we are coming along the incremental process. And so they said, okay, we need to do this. I said, but you can just save much more than 6%. But they said, no, we have KPIs and we have to deliver on them. So we just need to go step by step. That is quite enough for you, and we even can provide you with an advanced payment. So this is the first category of people, quite strange. The second category is the owners of properties, such like commercial property, business centers, some commercial rooms, environments, etc. And they asked me, like, why do you need it? Why do I need to save 30%? Because I have those people that lease the property from me, so they will pay for the energy, not me. And I told them, you know, like your lessors will be quite happy to save on the energy and to save on their expenses. And the owners of the property said, we don't care about it. If they pay for the receipts and bills that they're getting, that's fine. It's not a motivation for us. These companies sometimes even go through audits, A-type, but this is their business. So we have, like, for example, 287 lessors, so you can go to them and just agree with them. So you have to talk to our lessors, not us. Okay, so we are not really interested in it. The third story is when a company is growing and it doesn't want to lease any property in a large business center. They want to buy their own property to be located there. They want to hire some kind of a utilities management company or to build their own team that will do all this. So when we go to decision makers, they once again said, well, it's not me who makes the decision on electricity consumption. We have an electrician for this. His name is Vasya. And I go to Vasya and he says, well, you know, we have a very strange situation now right here. And I don't want to reveal all this, but you've come to me and I have some different equipment here, like mining machine and something else. I have some other sources of my financial gain here. So just I have everything set up here. Just don't interfere, you know, it's my business. So this is a very general picture and categorization by three groups. Unfortunately, a lot of the representatives of these companies already left Russia, such as McDonald's, Total, and many, many others. And for those who are interested about or in talking about the real electricity saving, not about any ESG or certificates or anything else, just to come to us, we will talk about this in particular. Okay, Alexei, thank you very much. So basically, you can divide all your clients by two categories, probably. So the first category is about the people who are not lucky, and the second category is about the people who are lucky. The people who are lucky, they already met you, but they turned down your offering. But there are some people that are not lucky. When I say they're not lucky, I mean that they haven't met you yet. So perhaps we will be able to make some efforts here and find these people that require you, that need to save on their energy consumption indeed. And I think that the participants of today's panel will also take note of that. So if they want to sell us, for example, Oleg says, or Evgeny says, we are ready to discuss it. Okay, so I think that you need to continue search for the niche that you are in, including in Russia. I think that in the future that could be also quite promising to cover or to bring it to some other countries. But, well, I believe that you're localized here in Russia, you are physically present here, probably your developers are here, and you are here at the startup village, and you've already done 3 startups for Skolkovo. So anyway, you are here, so let's continue to work here. Dear colleagues, I think that we still have some time, and we now can give the mic to our audience in Skolkovo. Do you have any questions, dear friends from our audience? Or maybe the presentations were so extensive that you've got everything, or maybe they were quite abstract that you didn't get all the meaning and all the ideas. There is a QR code using which you can also start or send your questions. Then let us thank our speakers for this nice, very interesting discussion. I hope that was useful. And we also would like to, says Evgeny, we would like to thank Skolkovo. Yes, finally. Thank you.
Сделан из старых забытых вещей, из ночи и дня без обмана. странных струн и разбитых идей, из холода и тумана. Ты соткан из дыма и верных друзей, и разных незыблемых истин, из горя и радости, света теней. А может, из чьей-нибудь мысли. Ты сделан из старых ненужных вещей, оставленных кем-то на входе. Ты сделан из очень хороших людей, и тебе это очень подходит.
МТС Стартап Хаб. Работа с реальным бизнес-заказчиком МТС. Доступ к ресурсам самого крупного телеком-бренда в России. Не можешь поверить? А в твой стартап обязательно поверят. У нас есть все, что тебе понадобится. Ресурсы, клиенты, технологии, каналы продаж. Мы оценим твой продукт, правильно применим в своем бизнесе и масштабируем на мировой рынок. МТС Стартап Хаб ждет тебя и твоих нереальных бизнес-идей.
ВК-звонки доступны везде и без ограничений. В 4К и с активным шумоподавлением. Будьте всегда на связи в ВК-звонках.
Встречайте приложение ВК-клипы. Удобный видеоредактор. Уникальные маски и эффекты. И стильные фильтры для обработки. Еще быстрее, проще, вертикальнее. Теперь в отдельном приложении ВК-клипы. Место встречи талантов.
Классно шьешь, варишь, печешь и вообще что-то производишь в Москве? Тогда сейчас самое время поверить в то, что ты делаешь, заявить о себе и занять свое место на рынке, пока другие не заняли. Смотри, это твоя дверь в новый мир. Открывай и узнай, чем мы можем тебе помочь. Москва-24 для бизнеса. Давай с нами.
Журнал «Эксперт» — это российский и международный бизнес, общественно-политические процессы, аналитика и прогнозы, рейтинги и интервью. Специальные условия на подписку на сайте expert.ru. «Эксперт» — настоящий деловой журнал.